At noon, one of the two teens charged with first-degree murder in the June shooting death of a Bushnell, Illinois man appeared in court today. 17-year-old Nicholas Lafery's lawyer filed a motion for a special prosecutor. He says there's a conflict of interest in the state's attorney's office as one of their lawyers was present for a part of the investigation and could be listed as a potential witness. The McDonough County State's attorney says they are involved in every investigation. This is a normal thing and a delay trick by the defense. The judge will rule on the motion when Lafery makes his next court appearance November 3rd.